morning. Today we have the week 5 office hour. Okay, well, I will get started first. First, because we still don't have any student coming yet, so I'm going to answer the question that I received from email. So there's one question regarding the project 2, and they are REPR, STR function. This magic function, what do they mean? Okay, this is the first question for this. So basically, if you know about object-oriented programming languages such as Java, okay, Java has an object class. So object class is topmost class, and then object class have many functions. There are 7 or 8 functions for object class. So everybody inherited the object class functions. Okay, so that's in Java's object class. Since in Python, we also have similar thing like that. Okay, so we also have the toString function. We also have the hasCode function. We also have equals function. These different functions. Okay, let's see. We have some friend coming in. Okay, so that's for Java's object class. And right now I'm talking about some question that student has in email. Okay, so if the question is that REPR function and string function. So let's look at one example. So we may have a class. Let's assume that this class is called point class. So let me see. So here we may have a class called point class. Sorry, my computer is reacting slow. Okay, sorry. So point.py. Okay. So here we have one point class. Okay, sorry, my computer is reacting slowly. Okay. Okay, so we can define a class in here. And similar to Java's function, so Java has a function called equals, also has a function called toString, and these are very popular functions that usually need to be implemented. Okay, so let's define a class. Let's assume that we have this class called point. Okay, we have this class called point, and the point class has the init function, and this one is the constructor. Okay, so let's assume that we do not have anything, so we actually pass. So it's okay that you don't initiate anything. And okay, sorry, we may need to have the x and y. Okay, because it's a data point, so let's actually have x and y. And we take in 2 variables x and y. Okay, so this REPR function is for representation. So this function, you need to put a cell. It's a instance method. So this one we call it representation. Okay, and here we may actually do return. We can return, and we put parenthesis %d, comma, parenthesis d, and then we have percentage sign, and then we put a cell dot x and the cell dot y in here. Okay. Okay, so we put something like that. Okay. Joseph, how are you?
Hello, good morning or afternoon.
Okay, so this one is actually REPR function. Okay, I'm answering some question from email first. Okay, so at this moment, some students do have the question regarding the REPR and STR function. So I has a problem here. Okay, so let's actually look at this one. This one actually REPR is a representation. Okay, so basically we can create a point called P1, and P1 equals point of 1 and 2, and then we can print P1. Okay, we can print P1. So with this, actually, it will print out the data content of that object. Okay, so you will have 1, 2. Okay, so here there's a problem here. If I actually comment this IEPR function out, okay, so for example, if I take this one just out, and we do not have the representation, we do not override this magic function. Okay, so magic function again is similar to the default function given in the object class in Java language. Okay, so REPR is similar to toString. Okay, similar to toString. So right here we actually comment it out. Okay, so comment it out, and we try to print out P1. So we print out P1, we will get a object description called main module's point object. Okay, we actually get this. Okay, it's called main module. Main module is current module's point object at some location, memory location. That is actually hash code. So it's similar to Java. You get what? Java, you get the point class at some hash code. So 55AABB, whatever, the hash code there. Okay, so this one actually is similar to that. Okay. If you don't override it, you will use the default setting by the object class. And Python actually also use the object class as its base. So you will inherit it from there. Okay. And you can override it. You actually will override it. Then you will override the representation, and then you can actually get something like this. Okay. So now there's a question like, okay, if I do this, if I do P1, okay, plus empty string, okay, here let's put something like this, okay, and let's do print the concatenation of this and this. So we save and we run, and we get an exception. So basically, REPR cannot be used to convert this one directly to string. Okay, it won't. Okay, so now let's actually define another function called define str. Okay, str, and then cell. Okay, so this one, let's actually copy the REPR function's content from here and put it over here. So this one is the string function. Okay, default string function. So it will override the so-called string function. Okay, you put an object in there, you will convert it into a string. So this one, okay, this one actually, let me change it to break it. Okay, change it to break it. So my REPR version is parentheses. Okay, and my string version str function will be a break-it format. So let's do a simple experiment over here to see which version it use. So let's run it. Okay, so let's run it. Actually, it print out the break-it version. So basically, your str version take over the so-called REPR version. So now let me comment out this one. So I comment out this one, and I redo the same experiment. So apparently it go back to the parentheses. So what? So str is stronger than REPR function. It's stronger. It will be, if this one we convert the object to string, you don't have a string function, you will take the REPR function. If you have a string function, you will take the string function. Is that okay so far? Joseph, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is the function of that. And then if we do use str, okay, of P1, and we store to a string called S, okay. So when we run this function, this str function, magic function, is used to override the str function. So we save it in this way, we will get this. We'll get this, right? Break it. We'll get a break-it version. So here, if I don't have this one as string function, and I just run the string function, and I don't have the string function, let's look at it one more time. So the print function, we will get the version from REPR, so it will be parentheses. There's no problem, right? Now let's look at the string function. String function, we run it, okay? And then it go back to REPR. So see, if you don't override the you don't override the str function and you don't have it, but you run the string, it will go back to run your REPR function. So let's try one more time. Try to use the this one called the so-called curly brace. Okay, let's try curly brace. A curly brace had the so-called Python formatting issue, so I use a backslash. Okay, it will be like this. Let me take out the backslash. So what's wrong? Okay, so basically it go to this one. So the experiment tells us that okay, the experiment tells us what? When you use the REPR and string is a stronger function than REPR. Okay, string is a stronger function than REPR. So string will override REPR. And why they need to have these two functions? I believe that in the old day, Python is a language just like C++ language. Over the year, they accumulate a lot of things, and some of them they need to be backward compatible, so they don't give up. So that's why currently they have two string function. Is that okay? Not
Yep.
not like Java. It's developed by one company, so it only has the string function. But in terms of the strength of these two functions, str function is stronger than REPR function. So that's one function. That one question here. Okay. Second is some student do submit the wrong homework. Okay, I'm okay if you resubmit it by email or something to me, but really you need to check. Okay, don't submit the week 4 homework to the project. Okay, or vice the other way around. Okay, and it will create trouble. Must check your problem number. Okay, problem number. Okay, so these are the questions I had on the email. So Joseph, do you have any question today?
Yes. So still going off of our week 6 program assignment. I noticed that in your example, you are just calling the polynomial class as a whole. So when I started kind of coding this, I knew for me to do certain things, it would have to be like polynomial dot a certain function in the class. So are you using super classes then?
Using superclass. What do you mean that here? I mean,
so when I was trying to do some sort of way to get my polynomial to print out like 1 plus 2x to the 1 plus 3x to the 2.
This one?
So like, yeah, so
this one, you need to redefine these two functions, one of them.
Okay.
Just like what you need to redefine it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That will give you this. It's exactly the same problem here. Here, you see, you do print, right?
Right.
You do print, and you will call the function here, using the string function or REPR function.
Okay.
That's what we are discussing right here. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
as long as how you actually print out the polynomial coefficient, you have to write a function to be able to support the printing of this format.
Okay, like in addition and subtraction then?
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to do that. So you got a coefficient, maybe a list or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
A list or something, you got to be able to convert it to such a format.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just having the tough time of implementing the X's in there.
Implement what?
The X's.
The X?
The X, yeah.
Why? It's just a simple. It's just a simple. It's just a simple. It's just a simple. You like to put an X here, you will have X.
Okay. Okay.
So why is it actually a problem?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You
Yes.
like to have X or Y, you just put it there. That's up to you. And you print up 1x, 2y. So
Okay.
it's
I think-
something you put it here. So basically, look at the one I'm having here. This one is called formatted string.
Mhm.
So formatted string, you'll be using it to this one to replace this one to bring. So this one is the same as the Java. If you know about Java, it's actually the same as system.out.print f.
Okay.
Or if you know about C language also have the printf.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if you don't like to write the printf format, Python has its own formatted output. Okay. Python has its own. I don't use it often, but Python do have its own formatted string. You can look at how to convert the things into the formatted string. Okay.
Okay.
But well, it's just more difficult to use. I don't prefer this one actually, but
Okay.
you can check it. Okay, you can check it. I personally prefer this one because it's actually the same format as what you will use in C language and also Java language.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. Any more question?
Yes, and then just on the dimension aspect, is that just how many times we see like an X to a certain power pop up?
Yeah, dimension is very easy. Dimension, you get the highest coefficients order, you just print it,
Okay.
right?
Perfect.
So you know how long it is, and you AN, and you will be returning N, right? From A0 to AN. So you just need to check what is the highest order you have.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Any more question?
So it just seems like a lot of the functions that we're going to have to be kind of spawning a lot of our answers come off of the str and repr.
It
then?
is actually there are some minimum you need to implement. I just give some example, okay?
Right.
But this one actually the whole purpose is this one. The chapter week 6 we are on the so-called object-oriented programming, right?
Right.
So this one polynomial is a class. Okay.
Mhm.
Polynomial by itself is a class. So basically you are trying to understand how to design a class. That's the whole purpose.
Okay.
So as for the function that you can implement, there are millions of functions you can implement. So it actually called matrix function. Python has a matrix function, right? And some people call it D under. D under actually is double under function. So double under function is a private function. Okay, it is a private function, and it's a double under function. Actually, there are many of them. One of them is called new. One of them is called init. Okay, so init is a constructor, right?
Mhm.
Okay, it is a constructor. So new is actually also create new is actually when you new object. So these two also somehow kind of overload each other, but new could be called before it. Okay, but usually I don't use a new, I just use init. And string function you can implement it. Okay, and then you have add function because you have a polynomial. Polynomial you can have a polynomial part add b polynomial, so you can have some function called P1 dot add P2, okay, or P1 plus P2. This one actually add function will override the P1 plus P2, okay.
Okay.
But if you use the add function and cell, and then another polynomial too, right?
Mhm.
This one without underline, without underline, you have this one. This one will be P1 dot add
Okay.
P2. But if you have underline add, this one you will override the plus sign. Okay, you will
Gotcha.
override the plus sign. And there's another one called R add, right side adding. Okay, there's a R add. There's a R add function. Okay. So RA function for Python, there's a special definition. So RA function is right side adding. It's actually different from the add. Okay. So basically, you can add RA is used to add what? When you have 3 plus polynomial 1. So your polynomial 1 originally may be x squared plus x plus 1. And then this one is R8. You should get x squared plus x plus 4. That's a normal number to add with the polynomial. Is that okay? It's called R8. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, that
Okay.
was.
And
that was
there's another function called I8. So here I do not list out all the functions that you can do, but in Python this is very powerful. So there's another one called I8, and I8 will override the so-called plus equal.
Gotcha.
You will override plus equal. So you override the plus equal, but sometimes your polynomial one will plus a say 5, maybe plus equals 5.0. maybe plus equal polynomial 2. Then your IF function, inside your IF function, you should do what? You should actually say if type of the polynomial 2 is equals int, for example. Then you deal with integer. And if the type 2, P2 is actually equals a floating point, then you deal with this one. And then if actually type 2 equals a polynomial, then you deal with this case. Okay, so this one, if you really want to do it a complete polynomial operation, this class can be really huge.
Okay.
Can be really huge. So you can check Python, okay, magic functions, okay. This one probably too short. Let me try to find a longer one. Okay. No, not here. So the magic function can be many, okay. Can be many, and there, okay, so like this one, there are tons of the you see, you have the add, subtraction, multiply, 4 division, 2 division, okay, this one actually different mathematical operator, you can all override them, equals or plus equal, minus equal, so many, I mean, right?
Right.
And so many you can compare, you can do it. So here is just an example that for you to exercise the object-oriented programming. So here I cannot list down everything, but you try as many as possible.
Okay.
Okay. Purpose is that for you to learn what is object-oriented programming. Okay.
Right.
Not really, well, we cannot list down every single function. There are so many.
Right.
So many. And same idea, this kind of the magic function in C++ language, same thing. They do have similar things like this, okay? Because they also have this different side. So in C++ function, it is overriding the operator, okay, plus, and that one is actually this one, okay? If you override the operator plus, you will actually override this function in C++. But Java doesn't allow this. Java doesn't allow overloading of operator, but C++ Python, they allow it. Okay? Any more question? Any more question?
No, that's all I had.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so if no question, I'll stay here for more while. Okay, some student may come.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, Serena, you have any question?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could kind of explain like data types and why, because for some languages like Java, we have the data type declaration before variables, but for Python, we don't. So could you kind of just explain the benefits and negatives of them?
The type, okay, the type. Okay, so the type actually, well, the first thing is that typing we actually say data typing. Okay, they are type and typing. Okay, type and typing are different things. Okay, so let's look at typing. So what's the difference between type and typing? Okay, programming language has typing. So we say strong type, weak type, and dynamic type, and also scope static type. Okay, let me see. We have different type. Okay, we have different typing. Let's use this one. Okay, this one I use more open. So first, data type. Okay, data type. Almost every language has data type. Okay, even JavaScript have data type. Even though you declare the data as VAR, but in fact, they have the data type of integer or floating point or string or Boolean, right? Same thing for Python, you also have the data type. So data type is you store your data in terms of an integer, so 32-bit integer, or using the IEEE 754, the floating point standard. So these are called a type. So when you store the data into the machine, they have type, okay? But typing is different. When we say typing, typing is determine your variable should be which type. That can be two way. One is statical way, one is actually dynamic way. So static way is actually what Java is doing or C++ is doing. Okay, these are static type programming language. So static type programming language will give you the integer, say A, okay, equals 3. So you define it, and this variable will be attached to the that type. You can never change to floating point or 8 anymore. Is okay? So that's called static type. And here Python actually is dynamic type language. So say you say A equals 3, when you assign 3 to A, then A become integer type. But later you say A equals 5.0, then it becomes floating point type. And as a moment later, it actually assign S string to it, then A become a string. Right?
Right.
So which type, I don't know. How can I know that A is which type? Only when you run it, you know, right? Only when you run it, you know. And if for programmer doesn't know what it is, you can use type function to check it. Okay, but because Python, everything is an object, so they do know that internally, they do know that this one is a object of the integer type. Okay, but A is actually only a reference pointing to here. But later, if actually change it to 5.0 and it pointing to here, then this one actually is a floating point object. Is that okay?
Yeah.
One more thing that we can actually try, okay? One more thing we can actually try is that this is called typing. This is called typing. Then actually, so for programmer point of view, dynamic typing is better, right? For programmer point of view, dynamic typing is better. But for computing speed, static typing is better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Performance-wise, this is better because you determine already. So you do not need to check the type or you run it. But dynamic typing, you actually need to check what type it is. And you will find a proper operator or instruction to do it. So basically, static typing will be faster, but not as good to use. So some problem with static typing is like, okay, you define a function. You define a function, so define actually add, okay? So define add, here you have P1 and P2. P1 and P2, what? P1 can be an integer, can be a floating point, can be a string. Nobody knows, right?
Right.
So this one is generic. So you say actually return P1 plus P2. But in this sum of the integer or sum of floating point or sum or concatenation of two strings, we don't know. right? We don't know, right?
Mhm.
But if I create another one, actually that is actually point that Java, right? For example. So if I have the pointer Java, so here I have class point, and here I have what? Integer x and integer y, and then I have point constructor at integer x and integer y. Then what happened? What happened is, okay, here, let me see, actually this dot x equals x, okay. And y equals y, okay. So now if I want to do public, okay, static, okay. Add. So I add integer, okay, x and integer y, that's one function, right? Okay, that's assume that we actually do nothing, okay. Do nothing. For example, here you need to return integer type. So here does mean return 0, okay, for example. But this one is a function that deal only with the integer. So you may need to create another one, actually public, okay, static, okay, integer add, okay. I'm sorry, floating point, double type. Okay, so right here we actually return 0.0. So you need to rewrite a different function. Then string you need to have another. But Python actually no, you don't. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So to make up this problem, actually Python, Java actually do have this one called public, okay, the so-called generic programming. Okay. Right. We actually do have this. Right. So this but this is a plus sign if they don't have the operator. So it's more difficult, you know what I'm saying? In terms of generic programming, this is not easy to use. Okay, but recently newer version of the Java. Okay. New version of the Java. Now they do allow variable a equals 3, variable b equals str and g. They start to allow it. Let's actually check it by Bluejay. Is that okay? Check it by it. In AP exam, we do not have that, but actually right now, newer version starting from Java 14, maybe 9. Okay, I forget which version. Recently, it changed a lot. Okay, it changed a lot. Okay, let me store in here. Okay, store in with file discussion. Okay, so right here, let's actually create a project called local variable. Okay, local variable. So local variable is what you can only use VAR for local variable. You cannot use it for global. So if you use a VAR, you use a VAR here, a equals 3. Sorry, this is not allowed. This is not allowed. Okay, error found. Okay, this is not allowed. You cannot use it for static function, static data, or use it for. You cannot use it for static data or instance data. No, you cannot. Okay, but main function is okay. Inside the main function as local variable is okay. It's allowed. Okay, that's a limitation that currently what Java has. Here you have VAR, a equals 3, a equals 3, okay. Equals 4.0, okay. C equals a plus b, and then system that are going. Okay,
Yeah.
so now they allow it. So the advantage is that now if the local variable, you no longer need to worry about it. How about var d equals a string of a b c d e, and then var e equals c plus d. Okay, d string d plus c. Oh my. Yeah, very amazing, right? Actually,
Yeah.
somewhat like JavaScript now.
Yeah.
So Java try to learn from JavaScript, somewhat like that. Okay. So good thing is, it's more convenient to use. Bad thing is that at runtime, they sacrifice the timing at runtime. They have to determine which data type it is and then trying to find the right operator or function to work on it. Is okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Any more questions?
Nope, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, how about the C double plus par? Keep doing it, okay? Every 2-3 days a problem, every 2-3 days a problem, okay? And let me know when you are working on some problem. I'll try to come up with some answer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let me see. If no question, we can be up to here. Is okay?
Yeah.
There's no more student coming. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.